Welcome back. Today we are going to be flying out the J29F, and unlike the name of the title, this thing is not actually a Bussin barrel. It is definitely a barrel and it definitely handles like one, and the Bussin part mostly comes down to your enemies just having an absolute field day. This thing is not bad by any stretch of the imagination. Real Shadow, however, has completely ruined these guns, and the flight performance isn't all that great. It's not bad at anything really other than high speed turning, but the low speed turn is average, the medium speed turn is average, the acceleration is pretty good, but it's kind of just slightly above average. Everything about this plane is average or slightly above it. But being average at everything means that you can at least put up a little bit of a fight versus most of your enemies. Just like this Limb 5P, if he makes some mistakes, you will be able to fight him. However, if it goes prolonged, you are gonna be in a bit of a pickle. We crit him, we should have some time before the F104 comes back. The main issue with this plane is really just the matchmaker. The plane itself is okay versus most of the other subsonics. Most of them will have some advantages on you. Some of them will be very hard fights, but the main issue really is MiG-19s, F104s, even F100s are hella annoying in this thing because they are simply just way too fast. And this thing is bad at one specific thing, being fast. The lockup is extremely painful. As you can see right here, this is full pull. You can see my mouse trying to pull up. I'm slamming my elevator on my keyboard and it just does not budge. It will start budging once you will reach about 850 to 900 kilometers an hour on the deck. However, this attribute alone will lose you many games, and that's mainly because the acceleration isn't that fantastic. So you are not able to simply just air brake, go slow and then use your acceleration to get into that sweet spot of turn, raid fight people, do stuff like that. You are not gonna be able to do such a thing. And that's also because the air brake of this thing is, well, you guessed it, below average as well. The air brake is the tiniest motherfucker I've ever seen on a plane. It doesn't do anything, and this thing doesn't really like slowing down either. Now this doesn't mean that it's going to maintain its speed very well. It's mainly when you are trying to brake really fast, you're not gonna be able to do that really reliably, and this mostly means you are simply going to lose way too much position at the start of a fight, and this thing isn't really great at going super prolonged, unless it's of course something like a Saber, unless it's something like an F104, something like an F11, and this all implies that they will full send after you. An F4C, for example, will out energy you. A MiG-15 Bis will absolutely rinse you. Sabers, prolonged at super low speed, you can kind of try to energy trap them, but their pull is just way too superior and you can't really do anything about it. So how do we fly this thing? It's really just a matter of take every opportunity you get with both hands and start sucking on it. There's really no other way here. Right now I'm in a massive dogpile of a fight. I have an F4C, an F11 and two F104s, and I can dogfight all of these guys separately all day long, but when they start running trains on me like they did with your mother, I'm just gonna struggle. I don't have the capability here to really keep this up for much longer unless they have absolutely terrible aim. And luckily for us, they exactly have the perfect amount of bad aim to make this fight interesting. So they all coming from different directions and I'm trying to turn into the one that has the most maneuverability in this fight, which funnily enough is going to be the F11 here. We have two F104s running trains on us and I'm trying to sync up the turns so that I turn into the F11 by flying towards the F104 or flying towards the F4C that just took a nap onto the dirt. And really I'm just trying to dodge everything while maintaining the fight with the F11. The issue is that they are all coming from different directions, they're all separating, they are not sticking together in a synchronized loop, and this makes it so that I basically have to keep switching my circle up and I never get guns on the F11. I can kill the F11 in the long run, at least if he doesn't run away. The issue is that every time I'm about to get close to him, another guy comes close and I'm forced to break off, and that costs me enough energy to the point where he's now just running away from me. So I have an F104 pulling in, so I'm staying to the right of him for a little bit longer so that he can pull into us. That's exactly what happens, and he also kisses some rounds. Now the 20mm here are below average too. Keep in mind, use the default belt, they actually have double the filler, or at least the effective filler, for some odd reason. Now, we were looking somewhat okay. We had an F11 left and one F104, but then the reinforcements arrived and we have an Harrier as well as a Saber, and the Saber here is really going to be the biggest issue. So I'm trying to dodge him and then get back on him. But the issue is that the Harrier is also looking like he wants a piece of this, so I'm forced to fly into him. My main thought here is try to go below him, make him go for a shot, make him slam into the ground. He kind of grazes us. We are good, however, but now we are forced to go vertical to dodge the F2 Saber and try to go for someone else. The F11 is flying away, the Saber is actually sticking, which is basically a death sentence now because the Saber is being aggressive, while all the other guys, which are a lot faster than us, are keeping the pressure up. And this really just ensures that we can't really do anything against the F2. The F2 I need to set up very specifically, and I'm not able to do that due to all the other guys that are running around here. So we try to dodge a shot. It doesn't really end up working out, but then he flies directly in our guns and everyone else disconnects, so I end up winning the game. Let's take a look at some fights where the plane performance can be used, but it's mostly down to the errors of the Limb 5, the second Limb 5 of this video, that we are gonna try and reverse. First of all, he kind of breaks off and he's trying to do a little bit of a lag pursuit. The issue is he took the wrong turn here and he kind of just turned directly in front of me, and now I instantly get directly on a 6. Now I'm still going to struggle quite badly to actually get a shot off, but he kind of just doesn't try to turn. He's just trying to go more and more vertical, making him slower and slower, and progressively just giving me an easier shot. And this way I get very easily behind him, just like we do with the progressive movement. And he's still trying to do it. I'm picking up speed by diving a little bit. And this guy is still completely captivated by his energy trap. He is now also crit, he's going to lose more speed, so I can just kind of pull up after him. And he is still trying to energy trap. He's not playing for position, he's not playing for turn rate, he's not playing for anything else. He's just trying to stall me out. And if I have guns on you and if I'm close enough and you are slow enough and I can put my nose on you, it's a risky tactic. It's not something that's very reliable, and this is why I advise people to learn their planes, learn energy states, watch my energy guide, watch my defensive flying guide, and this stuff just doesn't happen. This is an absolute rookie mistake. You don't try to energy trap someone that has enough speed, that is directly behind you and is kind of pulling on you. If you have a guy that's riding your 6, you are also not in the best of positions, he's kind of slowly gaining on you. Do not try to go into a vertical spiral. Do not try to just start pulling vertical loops, because what you're gonna end up doing is decrease your speed so much that you are just gonna end up turning worse and worse because you are losing airflow over your wings, and you just kind of end up hanging directly in his gun sight. That's something you want to ignore. Now if you come in like this and you have much more energy, he still needs to do a turn, we have enough distance between us, I can run this train on him all day long, and look at the difference that I had, that the Limb 5P had on me. This guy has no ability to put his nose on me. I have enough distance between us to the point where if he does put his nose on us, we can simply break off, get some distance, and continue this vertical loop. Now the Seahawk has a much tighter turn than us, however he's gonna go so slow, he's gonna have so little energy, and that he just doesn't have the ability to turn around and put his nose on us. And that means that we can run this train all day long as we don't get interrupted, until he finally dies. And he does. And that's the beauty of energy. If you have enough of it, you can kind of play around, see what works, what doesn't. And the best way to practice energy and see what works and what doesn't is simply by energy fighting people when you have a little bit of room. When you have the room to fly away, when you have the room to really do anything, you can kind of give yourself a range. Say, if the enemy gets within 1 kilometer, I am considered dead. Alright, this is the play rule. And if you then try to energy trap him and you try to make it in a way that he stays above that 1 kilometer, you kind of know what you are doing with your plane. You kind of understand the energy now, and you know how to play around it, because you know now that if you get him too close, you will probably die, unless of course his nose is nowhere near you, but that's a different step of the equation here. If you then apply those same rules, but a little bit less lenient, maybe say 800 meters for starters, try the same thing. Does it still work? Is he getting close to you? Is he getting guns on you? If the answer is no, you're doing it right and you can up the difficulty. Of course, don't play too passively. Taking some risk and dying sometimes is going to be the absolute best teacher that you will ever get in this game. Let's look at another example of the absolute fantastic amount of damage these 20mm do. This is more of an average match you will find yourself into, with a pretty decently favorable matchmaker as well. We have a lot of 9.0s, a lot of 8.7s, some 9.3s, Not a massive amount, but in this kind of matchmaker you can actually somewhat enjoy this thing. So I see the F40, I assume it is, coming in. It's an F30, much easier. First burst, absolutely nothing. So I noticed the G91 pulling on us. And in this kind of position is exactly where you want to be. Medium to high altitude, afterburner works well here. G91 doesn't have the best energy retention, so I can try and spiral him. The issue is, it's the start of the game, and there is multiple people around, and I'm going too slow at this point, so I'm just going to send it into the head-on, because if I don't, he's just going to kill me. We hit him with like 6 shells, and it does again absolutely nothing. Lightning coming in, I do not want to get red top, so I'm going to keep an eye on him in the back of my mind. Who do we go for? Well, the F30 there is crit. The F40 that I hit earlier is also dead, so it's only the G91, and I'm not particularly worried about him because there are multiple people around and I can just fall back on my friendlies here. I noticed the MiG-19 flying particularly straight today, and I tried my luck on a slow MiG-19. Doesn't work out, he starts turning. The main thing here is that the MiG-19 is one of those planes that I will go out of my way to kill. I don't care if I die doing it, I don't care if what happens. I am killing the MiG-19s. The MiG-19s will absolutely ruin your day, especially if they survive until the later stages. And if you don't start on the 6 of this thing, you can kind of kiss your ass goodbye in your hopes of killing him. So we hit him with the first burst. We hit him again. We hit him some more. He gets sprayed at by some other guy with this Swedish 20 mils. Some more rounds, and then he finally dies to another J29. So he basically got shot at by 8 20mm. I'm not sure what belts he's running, of course. I don't know how many he really hit in that burst. But I hope it shows you just how badly these guns really perform, especially with real shatter. They are talking about fixing it. They are kind of addressing it. But we'll have to see when it actually happens, because right now I have absolutely no faith in it. There are some guns that work quite well. I've been hearing great things about the A&M trees, but that's the only one I've really heard anything about. So I'll just take it with a pinch of salt for now. If more guns are going to start working, count me in, because gun kills are infinitely more satisfying than missile kills. Well, if you have AIM-9Bs, you're probably not going to get many missile kills anyway. But in a plane like this, that compresses a lot, isn't that fast, doesn't accelerate that well, isn't that maneuverable, you need your guns to work. And that's why I think that the J29D, even though it doesn't actually have any missiles, is a much better plane than this thing is. Because it can actually kill what it looks like. The AIM-9Bs are, in a gimmicky way, kind of helpful. If you are in an energy trap, if you have a guy that's going super slow and he's trying to like park directly on top of you, he's stalled like 2 kilometers above you and he's trying to do a hammerhead or some stuff, yeah, the AIM-9Bs are going to absolutely ruin his day. They negate every kind of energy advantage that he has. The issue is if he has even the slightest amount of speed left, you're just gonna turn into it and you're not gonna be hitting it. It's a very annoying deal. Some people just don't know how to dodge like that Limb 5P just did. But in general, these AIM-9Bs, I think I've gotten like 2 or 3 kills with them. They can be kind of helpful. They're definitely welcome. But most of the time I just kind of dispose of them, because it doesn't really go into the later stages of the game anymore anyway. And if you are the only one left, they're mostly going to have enough speed to just kind of keep up turning anyway. And you're not going to have a position where your missile really connects. So I rather use it at the start of the game when people are still kind of looking forward, only looking at someone else or trying to shoot someone down, or they're just AFK climbing, and then these AIM-9Bs can get some stuff done. But you know, when they're AFK climbing, it doesn't really matter what you have as long as you have the range to reach them. And as you see here, I'm simply too slow to really engage anyone, and everyone I look at just kind of ends up dying the second I put my sights on them.